Are you a fan of young adult novels?
Have you ever wondered the stories behind the people who wrote your favorite young adult novels?
Then join author Eric J. Brown
and Alyssa Lube of Netflix's The Circle
every other Tuesday on YAOK.
Available on all podcasting apps.
Woo!
Put down that smartphone and listen to me. I'm Matthew Milligan, professional musician and lifelong Weird Al fan. Each week, I'm joined by professional podcaster and close personal friend Matt Kelly to take a dive off the deep end into the vast career of pop culture icon Weird Al Yankovic on our show, Weird Algorithm. Along with some very special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we tackle every song, every television appearance, and every bit of sketch comedy Al has produced in chronological order, covering the good old days of My Bologna and Eat It, the fun zone of tacky and white and nerdy, and everything in between. As we go, we're ranking the songs, albums, and music videos in the hopes of creating the ultimate guide to a career bigger than the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. So the next time you're having one of those days, stuck in a traffic jam, wondering why does this always happen to me, just kick off your sneakers and stick around for a while because we've got it all on Weird Algorithm, available wherever you get your podcasts. And now you know. Was that enough references?
Joe, we are back after spending a whole week together in San Diego, enjoying Comic-Con, and we had plans to record these at Comic-Con, and then I don't know, Comic-Con's just fucking wild, man. I don't think we were ever going to find the 30 minutes we needed to do one of these, let alone 2 or 3 of these like we had originally projected.
Yeah, but you know, that is the convention. That is, it is all consuming at times.
So this is going to be a tough one to discuss because I think I watched this episode 2 weeks ago, but let's dive in. We're picking up where the last episode was. Ryan is still gung-ho on his mission to absolutely murder Volchek. At this point, we're getting a little bit more of Chris Pratt in this episode, and Jesus Christ, I know that like it's easy to dislike Chris Pratt in 2024, but his character here is also just the worst.
Yeah, it's like, wow, this is his breakout role, right? This is the role that, you know, he gets when he's like living on the beach in Hawaii, and I got to tell you, you know, villains usually tell on themselves, and he's so cringe. I hate Che so much.
Yeah, Che kind of sucks. I'm just continuing to refer to her as Woke Summer. Not a fan of just Woke Summer in general, but we'll get into more of that. There is a funny line from Che where he says, "I bet in a past life you were an eagle," which got a little bit of a chuckle out of me. But the TV show that I would love way more than anything we're getting in this episode is the TV show where Taylor and Summer are roommates in college, because that whole dynamic, top tier, loved it.
No, I have to say that like them shoehorning Taylor to be like Marissa's quote unquote replacement is hilarious, but in this episode quite effective because she's doing a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of not only just like providing much needed comic relief, but then also advancing the plot and just not letting Summer like get away with just being weird and not talking to Seth.
You know, it's funny because I'm looking at my notes for this episode, and I know what my notes were on next week's episode because I had recently watched that, and my opinions have changed dramatically, I think, between the 2 episodes. But on this episode, I was of the mindset that I actually kind of liked the season because it's so campy and dumb so far. We'll see if that continues. But we do find out in this episode definitively why Taylor isn't in France like she's supposed to. Mm-hmm. And it's this marriage/divorced in France situation that is some real juicy gossip and drama.
Yeah. Also, have we clocked how many languages Taylor speaks now? So like she
It's got
speaks
to be at least
French.
4, right?
Yeah, it's like French, Korean, Spanish a
Yep.
little bit, and English. So yeah, 4.
I have this one that I don't remember what this is. I wrote down, "Did you get my note?" And then I wrote in parentheses, "I love how goofy this is." But I don't remember the context of that quote at this point. But what I do like is there's a line from Luke's brothers where they're arguing with Caitlin, and they say, "Yeah, well, our brother slept with your mom," and like, what a body slam level diss in that moment.
Well, I mean, Caitlin does follow it up with like, what, gay dad will trump, gay dad trumps all.
I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly. I think brother sleeping with mom is a way bigger body slam move than just like dad happened to be gay. I also wrote down the line, "Are people in America really this fat?" Which again, I don't remember the context of that line.
Oh, I think it's because Summer talks about how like people in America gorge themselves on Thanksgiving, or is that next?
That's
No,
next
that's
week.
next week. That's
Yeah,
next
next
week's.
week's
Okay.
episode is the Thanksgiving episode. I don't know what this is in reference to. Um This is, well, I guess because this is the episode that's almost entirely in Mexico, right?
Hmm.
Ryan has left and is on his way to just like find Volchek and kill him. Again, there's things that I don't remember what I meant when I wrote them down, but it says, "I love that zoom in on Ryan's dick for no explainable reason."
Yeah.
So
We
there's
know the
definitely
reason.
that happens. But more importantly than anything is Steve-O shows up, and boy is he making an acting choice as one of the drunk like Navy or Army guys.
Marine. I think it's Marine,
He's a
right?
Marine. He's a drunk Marine, and this is how Seth gets a tattoo as a symbol of solidarity. And what happens here is essentially that Seth goes with Ryan to Mexico with the intention of killing Volchek, but then Seth is doing everything in his power to subtly keep Ryan from killing Volchek. I wrote down, Seth was really lucky that he knew a fake address for a different bar that would have an empty room that Ryan could go to. Like, that bit made me laugh in retrospect because it's so absurd. But he gives the address to Ryan. Ryan goes to this address where Volchek is supposed to be, opens the door and it's an empty room, and then Volchek opens the door and it's Seth, and Seth is basically just like, "I don't want anything to happen to you. Talk to my dad. My dad will,
Figure it out.
figure it out and get you as good of a deal as possible. You're going to go to jail, but at least you'll be alive," type situation. And this is all fine. I mean, this is all but it's also just like so dour. Like, I said this more with next week's episode, but I think it applies here too, to a certain extent. This is just such a dour, way too heavy season of television.
Hmm.
Because it's literally the first 3 episodes, we're in the middle of it. The first 3 episodes are basically just, we need to find and kill Volchek because he killed Marissa, and everyone is grieving and struggling with this loss. And it's
Hmm.
not fun to watch
No.
at all. And then I also wrote down just Amber is delightful. And now I don't even remember who Amber was, but I guess I found her delightful. Was she the bartender that helped Seth out?
I don't even remember. And I watched this yesterday.
Yeah. This is not going to be anyone's favorite episode of White People Problems, but
No, this is not going to be anyone's favorite episode of the OC either. So
no, that's true. That's true. It's just a weird episode. Like, almost nothing of importance really happens, yet in classic OC fashion, it feels like nothing of importance happened, yet so much happened at the same
Wait,
time.
is Amber Summer's slutty roommate?
Yes, that's who it is. Amber is Summer's slutty roommate that she that like just keeps hooking up with people. Yeah, Amber's delightful. I stand by that.
Well, she's also what's funny is that I'm also on the tail end of a rewatch of Gilmore Girls right now.
She's in Gilmore
And
Girls, right? She's
she plays Olivia. She plays one of Rory's. Her and Kristen Ritter are like Rory's other college friends that she makes in the final season.
That's what it is. See, I never really revisit season 7 that much. All I think of when I think of season 7 is boyfriend.
Boyfriend. Come on, boyfriend. What's funny is that like this actress has managed to play like fake co-eds in two different like teen soap operas, but college students and both Ivy Leagues, like Brown and Yale. So good for her.
Yeah, she plays smart characters.
Are you a fan of young adult novels?
Have you ever wondered the stories behind the people who wrote your favorite young adult novels?
Then join author Eric J. Brown
And Alyssa Lube of Netflix's The Circle.
every other Tuesday on YAOK.
Available on all podcasting apps.
Woo!
Put down that smartphone and listen to me. I'm Matthew Milligan, professional musician and lifelong Weird Al fan. Each week, I'm joined by professional podcaster and close personal friend Matt Kelly to take a dive off the deep end into the vast career of pop culture icon Weird Al Yankovic on our show, Weird Algorithm. Along with some very special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we tackle every song, every television appearance, and every bit of sketch comedy Al has produced in chronological order, covering the good old days of My Bologna and Eat It, the fun zone of tacky and white and nerdy, and everything in between. As we go, we're ranking the songs, albums, and music videos in the hopes of creating the ultimate guide to a career bigger than the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. So the next time you're having one of those days, stuck in a traffic jam, wondering why does this always happen to me, just kick off your sneakers and stick around for a while because we've got it all on Weird Algorithm. Available wherever you get your podcasts. And now you know. Was that enough references?
Are you a fan of young adult novels?
Have you ever wondered the stories behind the people who wrote your favorite young adult novels?
Then join author Eric J. Brown
And Alyssa Lube of Netflix's The Circle.
every other Tuesday on YAOK.
Available on all podcasting apps.
Woo!
Joe, music is super lacking in this episode. We got 2 songs. The Long Winters, Fire Island AK plays as Seth and Ryan get ready to leave to go to Mexico. And Band of Horses, The End Is Not Near plays as Summer writes her letter. And of those 2 songs, I'm going to go with Band of Horses. A, it's a good song. B, they're a good band. C, they're the kind of band that I associate in my brain with the OC. So of those 2 options, that's where I'm going. How about you?
You know, I really struggled with this and I tried to pay attention, but I have to go with for like the 4th time, I have to
Phantom
go
Planet?
Yeah, Phantom Planet, because there wasn't really anything that propelled the story. And at this point, right, in the 4th season, we are kind of using the same beats. They're not doing anything interesting yet. And I think there's better examples of music in the next episode. So I'd rather just,
I agree.
save good critiques for that.
I agree with that. Joe, the last part of our podcast is obviously when we do the pop culture promo. And I very excitedly want to jump in first. Now, I don't have that much to talk about. But just before San Diego Comic-Con, I knocked out the entire 1st season of One Tree Hill, a show that fits in beautifully with what the OC and the Gilmore Girls are doing. I can categorically say that I prefer the 1st season of of One Tree Hill to any individual season of the OC. Just way better soundtrack, way more wholesome, even though Dan Scott is just horrible as a character. But everybody else is great. Like, it's just very it reminds me of early Gilmore Girls in that, like, just small town vibes, bubbliness to it. Now I'm told that does not maintain for 9 full seasons and that it will fall into the trappings of cliched teen dramas. And I know about, because I've seen it on John Oliver a bunch of times, I know about a dog taking somebody's heart off the floor in a hospital. And I cannot wait to get to that episode to figure out the details of that ridiculous scene. But I will say, I'm all in on One Tree Hill. I'm having an absolute blast watching it right now.
Awesome. Wait till you get to Nanny Carey. That's all I gotta say. Nanny
Can't
Carey
wait.
and Felix, I think are my favorite, like, weird, why are we doing this characters.
Well, you know I love Mouth because he's Minkus from Boy Meets World. Like, that's a big
Yeah,
win
which,
for me
like,
right out the gate.
way to go for, like, a second act for your fucking career, right? To, like, basically be playing the same character, the perpetual teenager.
This had to have been a solid decade after Boy Meets World that, like, he started doing One Tree Hill. So good for him. Good for him for that youthful look that he could just continue playing a teenager 10 years later.
And, like, kind of hot, like nerd hot, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I agree. I'd pick him over Nate. Maybe
I don't
not
know if I'd pick
Lucas,
him
but
over
definitely
Nate,
over
but,
Nate.
you know.
How about you, Joe? What big pop culture? I mean, have you gone to any giant cultural conventions or anything that you want to talk about?
Oh my god, huge cultural conventions. So as you know, I work for San Diego Pride. Like, that's my like day job. And one of the things I want to shout out is Sheila E., who was one of our headliners at San Diego Pride this year. 60, I think she said she was 64 or 66 years old, and, like, the queen of percussion, just gave the best show. Everyone, like, it was so awesome to see the kind of crowd that came out for her. Like, it was a multi-generational crowd. That's not shade, that's a fact. And it was so cool to, like, over the last few months since we, like, announced her, like, for myself to kind of discover/rediscover her music. And it was really cool to, like, see her live in person at the show.
Very,
So
very cool. I feel like I
shout
don't
out to Sheila
know.
E.
Is Sheila E. one of those artists that I feel like if I actually listened to her music, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I know this song. Right? Like, 'cause she had a ton of hits.
Yeah, I think you would, and maybe you would, and maybe you wouldn't, right? Like, I don't quite know if you would. Like, I knew one song that she had in name alone, but I couldn't sing it to you. But she also has, like, a new album out that's, like, a primarily Latin inspired album. She did a song with Kelly Clarkson off of Kelly Clarkson's new album. And, you know, she's known, like, she's a good singer. She's a great singer, fantastic, but she's known more as, like, a drummer, as a percussionist. And so, like, to see her do both was really great.
Well, that is amazing. And I'm very proud of you for being able to experience that at Pride.
I see what you did there. Thank you for that. Allies all.
Well, Joe, I know that this was a bit of a bummer of an episode, but man, do I have a lot of opinions about next week's episode. So listeners, stay tuned because it is Thanksgiving time in Newport Beach, and I am very upset about it.
Are you a fan of young adult novels?
Have you ever wondered the stories behind the people who wrote your favorite young adult novels?
Then join author Eric J. Brown
And Alyssa Lube of Netflix's The Circle.
every other Tuesday on YAOK.
Available on all podcasting apps.
Woo!
Put down that smartphone and listen to me. I'm Matthew Milligan, professional musician and lifelong Weird Al fan. Each week, I'm joined by professional podcaster and close personal friend Matt Kelly to take a dive off the deep end into the vast career of pop culture icon Weird Al Yankovic on our show, Weird Algorithm. Along with some very special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we tackle every song, every television appearance, and every bit of sketch comedy Al has produced in chronological order, covering the good old days of My Bologna and Eat It, the fun zone of tacky and white and nerdy, and everything in between. As we go, we're ranking the songs, albums, and music videos in the hopes of creating the ultimate guide to a career bigger than the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. So the next time you're having one of those days, stuck in a traffic jam, wondering why does this always happen to me, just kick off your sneakers and stick around for a while because we've got it all on Weird Algorithm, available wherever you get your podcasts. And now you know. Was that enough references?
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.